What is up, everybody? Welcome back.
Uh-oh.
Did we just lose him? I thought that was
I think we did.
Welcome back, everybody, to Zoom Bet Daily. It is Saturday, June 3rd. Papa Dude, Magic, and if he ever unfreezes, Aaron Halterman. That or he's doing a great mime job. One of the two of those things. I'll start things off here while we wait for Aaron. Papa Dude, we got the first game of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight.
Exactly.
Florida and Vegas going to be playing each other, and Vegas has been a rock-solid team at home, as they usually are. They're the minus 130 favorites tonight. How do you play this game? How would you bet this one?
I don't like to bet first games of a series. I want to see the game. I want to see how it shakes out. Because especially in this one, I'm really, if you're going to bet it, I think you got to bet Florida because of the underdog, and Vegas is not a sure thing for sure. But I'm a little worried to see. I want to see how Florida comes out of that long layoff. Are you worried about that at all? I
am. He's back. Not too worried about it. You do have a little bit of the rust case, but it's also a team that in Florida that was, their 4 games when they beat the Hurricanes was all by 1 goal. So I think that they've actually won 7 in a row by 1 goal.
Yeah.
I think they'll come into this fresh. Vegas played. I mean, Dallas was a rough and tumble team for them to play. Especially with Jamie Benn trying to break everybody's neck. So I'm not too worried about Aaron's back. Aaron, are you worried about, if you're betting Florida? Are you worried about the layoff? Is the question.
Yeah, that was great timing. We sit here for 30 minutes before the show talking Magic, and no problem at all. But as soon as we hit the live button, I freeze. I love the hotel internet going out. Listen, I am a little worried about the fact that Florida hasn't played in a while, but again, they're plus money, so here we go, right? I mean, they're plus money once again in the playoffs. They've been such a gift. So, listen, give me Florida in this game. I am concerned about that, but I think we were kind of talking off air before. It just feels like Florida, it's their year.
Yeah, the case I was making for it is you don't win all those games. You don't sweep Carolina in 4 games the way that they did with Matthew Tkachuk scoring. What is that? 21 points now in this series, 4-game winners. You don't. Bobrovsky's standing on his head in a bunch of those games to keep it close. You don't win those games like that and then come into the Stanley Cup Finals and lose. Like, it's just story-wise, that just doesn't happen. It seems like it's kind of made for. Both these teams in the Stanley Cup Finals for the second time in franchise history, and the owner of the Knights, Bill Foley, when they first unveiled the nickname and the logo back in November 2016. They asked him how long he thought it would take for the Knights to lift the Stanley Cup. He said 6 or 7 years. Well, this is it. If they win the Cup this year, he was right. This is their last chance to do it, but that'll be pretty close. Let's talk about the series overall, too, since we could. I took the Panthers at plus money before the Vegas-Dallas series was even over. I've got Florida in 5. Aaron, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. 5 or 6 is where I lean with this. I think it'll be a battle here for a while, but I do think Florida's going to get it done in 5 or 6 games. But if you like Vegas, I've been wrong about Vegas almost every series. So I definitely am not going to underestimate them. But in this series, I think they're going to make it a battle. They've done well enough to make me say, hey, I won't be shocked either way if they win here. So if they win this series or not. So. But yeah, Florida in 5 or 6 for me. It's going to be interesting. Somich believes that Vegas will play a pretty wide open style. And if that happens, the totals are going to be interesting. And how that unfolds is going to be really kind of fascinating to see because the Panthers can really put it in the net. And if they get opportunities, they're going to be really tough at the spot. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a very interesting series from how the style of play goes because we saw how Carolina tried to, possess the puck, keep the puck away from Florida. It didn't work. Vegas doesn't really play that way, so that'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Papa Dude, what's your series prediction here?
I totally disagree with that. I don't think they're going to play wide open. I don't. I don't think they're a wide open team. I don't. So I kind of think I don't think they're going to be just totally wide open. It's going to be more wide open than Carolina. And, Carolina won everything but the series. They just couldn't get a break.
Yeah.
They could easily have won that series 4-0. It could have been the other way around. but it's not. And there's a reason for that, and that's the goaltending of Florida. He was unbelievable. If he continues to play that way, I don't think Vegas wins because Vegas's goalie is a little shaky, right? Yep. And that's why you kind of got to lean towards Florida. I'm with you guys. I think 5 or 6. We may change your mind after tonight, though. Who knows?
Well, one thing that's really interesting, guys, about this, and you talked about the Vegas goalie being shaky. It's only because we didn't think he would be what he is right now.
Absolutely.
If you look at how he's playing, he doesn't look shaky at all. No. And then you had Bobrovsky and Magic. We've kind of been laughing about just like, look at this guy. Like he looks like he was supposed to look. He's just been so up and down throughout his career. Could he implode at any second? Could either one of them implode? I think it's possible.
It's possible. This reminds me of the 2008 Stanley Cup when the Red Wings beat the Penguins that year. But going into that season, Dominik Hasek was the starting goalie for the Red Wings, and in that first series against the against the Predators, he really struggled, and he looked like Bobrovsky looked like a lot of earlier this year, right? And Bobrovsky entered the playoffs not being the starter. It was Lyon who was the starter, I believe, for the Panthers, and then he kind of struggled, and Bobrovsky came back in. Osgood came in 2008, was very old and had been inconsistent, and Osgood came in and helped lead Detroit to the Stanley Cup. It reminds me a lot of the same thing here for the Panthers with Bobrovsky. He's got the ability. He's 34. He's been through this many, many times. So there is that potential for it, but especially between a goalie who was kind of given up by the Sharks for a 4th-round pick and was not the starter for most of the year for Vegas versus a super veteran like Bobrovsky. I'm going to roll with Bobrovsky here, but that's also a big reason why I took the Panthers to win the series here.
Let me ask you something
I think
else.
He's playing so well.
You guys know the lines a lot better than I do. Does Vegas have somebody that can take Tkachuk out of the game? Do they have the defensive people that can control him?
I think what line they put on the ice when he's on the ice is going to be really interesting. I think that they're back in as far as their defensemen. They got some pretty darn good ones.
Oh, I thought they're very big, right? Big.
I wonder if the Barbashev line goes out there when the Tkachuk line's out there, because that's what the Blues did with Barbashev when they won the Cup. His line was always out there when the best teams when the other team's best scoring line was on the ice.
Yeah.
The Barbie line was out there, and will Vegas kind of do the same? I think that'll be an interesting matchup.
Big key.
Yeah.
If they can control him, who's going to score for Florida?
Yeah.
So big key.
We'll be we got game 1 is tonight, game 2 is Monday, and then Thursday, and then I think Saturday again is game 4. So we'll be covering a lot of the games here as the series progresses. Let's move on. It's gonna be a shorter show today. Aaron's got shit to do. Magic's still feeling under the weather. Papa Dude's still got students to go teach. So we'll keep rolling through here. Race of the day, we're going to skip right to a race 9 at Belmont Park. This is the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. We've got a field of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 3-year-old males going to Mile and Eighth on the inner turf course here. Return of the 2022 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf runner-up Silver Knot for trainer Charlie Appleby. He's here. Far Bridge is a nose away from being perfect in 3 starts. And then there's another horse I think that could potentially upset the apple cart here. So, Papa Dude, I'll go to you first. Who's your pick here for the Pennine Ridge?
Well, I narrowed it down to 3. Silver Knot has been off since the Breeders' Cup in November, right? So we don't know how that horse will come out of that layoff. Does the horse need a race? So that's why I narrowed it down and I went with the 8. I went with Far Bridge, who's been running. And like you said, Magic, he's a nose away. This is for males, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He's a nose away from being undefeated. And I think that was a grade 2 race that he lost by a nose. So this horse is good. So that's how I took him over Silver Knot. The other one, I don't know which one you're talking about, Magic, but I think the 6, Kalik, is another one. Hasn't been in a stakes race, but has won the last 2. Last one by 3 3/4. And Chad Brown's the trainer, and we know he's pretty good on turf. So those are the 3 I went with. I'm going to put the 6 in second, so I'm going to go 8, 6, 4.
Aaron, so a quick correction, Papa Dude. Silver Knot did have one race on May 6th. It was
Okay.
I think the English Guineas, basically the Kentucky Derby for European turf horses. But he was 11th, beating 17 lengths at a field of 14 there. So,
Okay.
Aaron, I don't know about you. I looked at this one and I thought I love Silver Knot out on top, and I'm willing to forgive that race last night. He might have needed a race like Papa Dude was mentioning. But if you look at his other poor performances in Europe, and he's only got really one that stands out that was bad as a 2-year-old, was on yielding turf. The English Guineas was on soft turf. He's going to be on firm here, where he lost on firm turf by a nose in the Breeders' Cup. He's done well on good turf overseas, so I put Silver Knot on top. But what about you?
Yeah, I went with Silver Knot, and I remember when they brought this horse over last year, how they kind of raved about, boy, this is a really nice horse. This is a horse that's going to come over here and win. And look, he ran fantastic. He just got nipped out by an Aidan O'Brien runner who got a better trip that day and kind of just snuck up on him and got him. So that was a hell of a race, though. And either one of those horses, if they come over here, that's who I would probably pick in this race. So Silver Knot for me. I expect him to show up and run really, really well. I do think Chad Brown's horse, the 6 Calic, I definitely think that horse has a pace advantage today. It's pretty glaring when you look at it on paper. So I think it's hard to leave him off of a ticket just because of that pace advantage. And look, the horse is pretty good too. It's not like this horse hasn't done a whole lot. So I like the 6, but yeah, I did go Silver Knot on top. And sure, certainly wouldn't be surprised if Farbridge won the race. I mean, he's been running so good, and look, he's running here, and Web Slinger is running today at Churchill Downs, one of the last 2 days of the meet there at Churchill, oddly enough. And so we'll see how those horses come out of there. It's going to be interesting to see those two run today.
Yeah, and you also had Major Dude, who was third behind Farbridge and Webslinger. He overcame a hell of a rough trip at Penn National last night to win the Penn Mile Stakes. So a little nerve-wracking if you bet that horse as a big favorite there, but Irad got the job done. Yeah, for the Magic Mike show, we covered the late pick 5 at Belmont Park for today, and that does include this race. Mike, I know, singled Silver Knot, and I couldn't knock him for it. My biggest thing against the Charlie Appleby horses that when we've seen them lose this year, and you can think about modern games especially, it's when a horse gets loose on the lead and they're not used to having to chase down lone speed like that overseas. They usually run into tighter packs over there. So the 6 Kalik, however you want to pronounce it, that's the other horse for me, and I think at 7-2 is great. Farbridge, I think, is a talented horse, but I think this is just going to set up where you've got he's a lot like Silver Knot to me, and I'm going to go with the European horse over Farbridge, especially when it's Appleby and Godolphin. Also, if you are going to play that race and you're curious about the 6 Calic, watch race 7, 2 races earlier on the card. The number 2 horse, Cumberland, is in the maiden special weight race, and he lost to Calic by a nose in his first time routing last out when Calic got the win. So watch out for that horse and see how he performs. If he wins pretty big, you've got to feel a lot better about betting Calic in that spot. Let's keep going with horse racing here. Aaron, you're good. You're down there. You're local at the track. You've been watching the workouts. You've got the insider information. You're going with the 4 Big Luke in Prairie Meadows race 6 today. Tell me about him.
Yeah, well, I gave him a peppermint last night after the races. We fed him a little bit. We've been hanging on the necks of all those horses of Kelly's. So if they don't run very well the next couple of weeks, maybe we're the blame for it. But Big Luke, really nice horse. Won first out this year. Really, really a good allowance win, and they think this horse is going to run extremely well tonight. So Big Luke for me in the 6th race at Prairie Meadows. He's a good boy. He was very good as a 2-year-old, but he's really improved. He's grown up a lot here as a 3-year-old. So they're excited for him. It's been a lot of fun kind of going around the barn and seeing all the horses. I hadn't been up here in a little while, so it's been a minute. So it was fun to kind of see. And Kelly's big horse, Ain't Life Grand, worked out great this morning. Went out and watched him. And so we'll see him next weekend in the stakes here, prepping for the Cornhusker. But Big Luke tonight's going to be tough. Kelly's got 2 in the race, but Big Luke, the 4 horse, is the one you want to pay attention to.
And the horse that he was second to last fall, Tyler's Tribe, went off to the Breeders' Cup. But before that point, Tyler's Tribe was beating every Iowa bred by like multiple poles on the track. To his credit, Big Luke is the closest any Iowa Bred's ever finished to Tyler's Tribe. It was only 6.5 lengths that he was beaten by. I mean, this Tyler's Tribe was winning by 15, 16 lengths, multiple races down there. So I think that shows a bit of class there as well. Mike Somich isn't here, of course, but he is taking a long shot with the Rockies at plus 145. Aaron, did you like the Rockies as well in this spot?
I think Papa Dude and I both kind of like the Rockies here. We thought that was a good play. I mean, Somich will tell you he screwed up yesterday. He bet the Rockies, but he wanted to make the Rockies his best bet, but he went somewhere else. But in his theory, and it's the same way where he cashed on the Nationals last weekend a few times. It's like, hey, nobody should be an underdog against the Royals, and here we are. Then the Rockies took care of business last night, so he's going to go with them again plus 145, and that makes a lot of sense.
Pop, do you have anything to add on the Rockies?
Well, I agree with what Aaron said. The reason they're underdogs is the pitching matchup today. The Rockies are sending out somebody I think with almost an 8-point ERA, and they're not a very good team. But Kansas City's terrible, so I like to pick a lot. Anytime you can get an underdog against Kansas City, you take it. I think that's sound thinking.
Papa Dude, I'll stick with you for baseball. I almost went with this game as well. You like the Nationals today. Tell us about them.
I do. They're playing pretty well. And Aaron cashed on them a couple of times. Or was it you, Aaron, that cashed on them? Yeah, against the Dodgers the other day.
No, when we were doing our show. Almost 200 against the Dodgers. Yes.
And they're playing pretty well. They've got a good lineup. The pitching matchup, I think his name's Mackenzie Gore, is going for him today. He's been pitching very, very well. I just kind of like them. The Phillies are not playing good. So I think it's a logical bet. I believe they're at home, and I just like them. I think they're playing pretty well. I don't think they're a terrible team. They're maybe somebody to watch a little bit as we go along. So I like them a lot. By the way, last night, Aaron, your horse, Husker Butch, there was a brief minute. I wonder if you feel the same way. A brief second, I thought he was going to win.
Oh, yeah. All of us did. There was like 6, 7 of us standing there. And the whole time we thought, well, he's going to get second until he started to really make that move on the 2-horse. And, Kelby said, uh-oh, this is going to get exciting. And, of course, the 2 had kind of had an easy trip and was able to kick back away from him. But, yeah, we definitely thought for a second. But, listen, that was perfect. It worked out really good. He ran well. He can run at that level again. And he's going to be a best friend of ours if he can keep running off second.
Yeah, I think he's going to win eventually. The horse that beat him is pretty good.
The horse beat him is just a better horse than him, most likely. And the thing that we've got that's really nice, Husker Butch has early speed. He just didn't break very well. But once he got his footing, he got up there where he needed to be. So, yeah, we were really happy, really happy.
And I hate to break your bet today. Are you going to get 8-5?
Don't worry about it.
I don't care. I'm not Somich. I want you to get the bet right.
So Somich is away, the mice will play.
Do I? That's right. Even if he goes 2-5, you get it right, 2-5, you're counting it. That's a new rule for this show. You don't have to have a backup. If you pick a horse that's 8-5 on the morning line, it goes to 2-5. You don't have to have a backup. New rule.
I would say if you're playing this race tonight and you get down here and he is pretty low, the 1 is a horse I really like.
No, you're not putting an exacta. No.
So the backup bet is a 4-1 exacta.
No, there is no backup bet.
For me, I'll go see if I can keep this train rolling with the totals. I went Twins Guardians under 8 here. You've got a team first in the Guardians that 19 overs, 35 unders so far this year. They definitely are not scoring runs, and they're not giving up a lot of runs when they're projected to do so. So I like that angle as well. The Twins, 25 overs, 30 unders, but they've also got their starting pitcher. He's going to be their ace, Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray had a pretty darn good May for the Twins overall, just 10 earned runs over 25 1/3 innings throughout the month of May. He struggled a bit against the Guardians, but I think he's going to feel pretty solid here. And as far as the Twins getting offense tonight, they're possibly going to be without Byron Buxton, Max Kepler, Carlos Correa, who hurt his foot warming up between innings in Thursday's game. I don't understand how that's some magic level shit to be able to do that. And Joey Gallo might be out as well too. So a lot of the bats for the Twins, questionable if they're going to be in the game tonight. I think that Sonny Gray is going to have no problem handling the Guardians, and I don't think the Twins are really going to be able to put up much offense. So I went with the under 8 on this one. See if we can keep let's see. What am I? I did the math. I'm 5-1 right now with my totals in the last 2 weeks. So we'll see if we can keep going. So I'm like Aaron and Papa Dude and Somich. I'm really starting to enjoy betting baseball. Really like it when you're doing well. By the way, the starting pitcher for the Guardians, Logan Allen, the under is 5-0-1 in his last 6 starts. So
Really?
got that going for us as well. So
I like Logan Allen a lot. I cashed on him last time he pitched. He pitched incredible. So if
I'm
he does
wondering
that
how
again,
many-
you're going to cash this bet.
I'm trying to figure out how come so many baseball players are hurt. That's kind of hard to do, don't you think?
There's a lot of them. Yeah.
There was another. I'm trying to think who else got hurt. There was another one of them left the game with a migraine. Kepler left the game with a migraine the same day that Correa hurt his foot between innings. It was just like a mess of. I'm telling you, you'd think they're the Minnesota Magics or something out there the way it goes. And yeah, listen, we keep moving the line. As soon as I give a total out, you see the total drops. So now it's 7.5 for this one.
You got him at 8. That's what
got him at 8. But listen, Magic keeps moving the lines here. All right, we'll give the rundown here with our best bets. Somich going to go with the Rockies at plus 145, so you can get some plus money on that one. How do I make this go away? Go away. There, thank you. You got it. Nationals minus 110 for Papa Dude. Aaron going to Prairie Meadows, race 6. Number 4, Big Luke, 8-5 morning line. Going to get every bit of that 8-5 as well. And then Magic, Twins Guardians, under 8. This week, 6-5 with the plus 150. Year to date, still doing strong, boys. Plus 344. God bless baseball. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget, Magic Mike Show covered the Belmont Park Late Pick 5, races 6 through 10. Go check that out over at the YouTube channel. And we'll be back tomorrow with some more best bets. Good luck, everybody.